Hello. Okay, so this is Henry Cho's talk. I read his synopsis and I thought, we can do that. But
3 days.
Just really quickly, what I would like is for you all to put, anyone that's on Twitter that is, hi Pat, is to get out your phones and just have a quick tweet and say how much you're disappointed in the fact that Henry's not here tonight.
Yeah, because we're going to give him a ribbing, so you guys might well.
And in addition to that, I'll just give you a second. Has everyone tweeted? Yes? While you have your phone out, I'll introduce our talk. So this is similar to Henry Cho's talk because we wanted to make sure that the people that came specifically to see Henry talk were still getting something out of it. This is how to lean. And we have a short URL there. And as part of the presentation, what we'd like is for anyone that's quick to type that in is to type it in. It's a Google form, and we'd like some feedback before we even start on what you expect from this session.
We are UXing our own presentation.
Is it cap sensitive?
I believe it is.
Well, that's annoying.
Fail.
Permission.
Maybe we should have sent this out beforehand. we need to pivot. Yeah.
You fail.
Okay. So
Fail.
You in?
we might get one or two.
People in?
Thank you.
Yeah?
So
It'll make sense soon.
show of hands, quickly. Who's seen this before?
Less than a third.
Less than a third.
Okay. Got a work cut out for us.
So this is how people sum up lean UX. It's all about reducing waste, reducing the time to reducing the feedback loop, basically, and making sure that you're building value faster, you're pivoting faster, and you're actually also releasing value to the customer faster as well. So you're in this continuous cycle. It's the anti-waterfall model, pretty much. So, yeah, for those that have seen it, that's fine, but give me something I can actually work with, right? So what we're actually going to do is talk about 3 tools that we use at Westpac. JD and I are on the same program of work. The Lean Canvas, the Value Proposition Canvas, and the Hypothesis Validation Board. But before we get into those, and JD will run you through the ins and outs of them, before, we thought it might be interesting to show you in a practical way. So basically what we're going to do is introduce the PTA. It's a personal transportation assistant. Now we just came up with this yesterday and we thought, why not? Okay, so JD, take it away.
So before you, there's a grid of lines and words, and for those of you who hadn't seen the first circle, this may be foreign to you as well. So essentially this is your business on a page, and it's built for entrepreneurs. It's not for consultants. It's really not for designers, although designers tend to lead projects with this. And if you're thinking about running a lean project, i.e. you have a small number of people and you really want to get to the crux of the problem that you're trying to solve pretty quickly, this is the tool for you. So we've highlighted a couple of things in here, and you'll see that there's a number of numbers in each section. We can share this with you after this event. More than happy to share that, love. The numbers are the order in which you should fill the squares in. And there's a reason why that order is really important. Because if you've got a couple of minutes to tell somebody your idea, and why they should either support you, give you money, or tell you to get lost, is that this order is that story. Who's seen Shark Tank? Come on, I want to see more hands than that. Surely you've seen Shark Tank. Thank God.
I haven't seen you.
So, man,
Seen the ads.
this is a tough room. The best pictures follow this story. This is your business on a page and your opportunity to be able to get that in front of people in one hit. So you need to really follow those numbers. We've filled in a few things along the way for our PTA. What's our problem? Our problem is that travellers need a way to get to the gate when they arrive at the airport in a relaxed and kind of ready to fly away. Less stress, easy to go. Jump to number 2. Who are we targeting? Well, we're targeting non-frequent travellers that are kind of stressed out about getting to the airport because they haven't done it enough. So again, this is an assumption or a hypothesis at this stage. Number 3, the unique value proposition, and this is the kicker, this is what's going to get you the cash in Shark Tank, is optimising your airport time for maximum enjoyment and never arrive late at your gate. So the goal is to reduce the stress. Now this is a scenario for our product, our PTA. You'll see the 2 different coloured sections in this tool. Amongst everything else that's on this page, this is where you get fit. And in large organisations like the one that we work for, fit is the hardest thing to achieve. That is, as UXers, we often are aware of who our customers are and what their needs and requirements are to do the things that they need to do to get to the next step.
On that note, I think we'll switch to the value
Next
proposition.
canvas.
Which, depending on your preference, you could actually do this one first if you wanted to as well.
There's no order. If you know a lot of the detail about your customer and their pain points, then start with the circle. You can kind of jump in any which way, depending on the organisation that you're in or the amount of information that you've already got in your research portfolio.
So basically, we've mapped out some for our PTA here. Basically, we've found out through our research that our customers would like to arrive at the gate on time. We know that sometimes they get bored, and we know that they'd like to spend more time at the bar. So what does that mean for our product? It means basically that we need to provide drive-through margaritas. We need to provide people the opportunity to meet new people. And we need an autonomous Segway that takes you to your gate and never makes you late. The next tool is the hypothesis progress board. This is a shot of one that we're using at the moment that needs a little love, but it's there nevertheless.
It's ready to go. It's unfortunate when you put a statement of work proposal through as market research as opposed to customer interviews that it finds its way up to the CIO or the CEO level for approval. Note to young players, call it customer research, please, in large organisations, and then you might avoid that scenario. So this board is actually a visual way of interpreting where your hypothesis is at. And the reason we choose this over some of the other validation boards is that using a visual style of management allows us to move our awesome hypothesis through these phases until we learn that it might be right or it might be wrong. So when you've got a number of stakeholders that come through your room and go, what the hell have you been working on? This is a great way to show them how you're making progress. So it's kind of the validation board because at the end of it, You want to start prioritising the things that you've got a yes to from customers and or staff in certain occasions. That's this list. Once you achieve prioritisation, and I think the algorithm that we use to try and achieve that is a discussion for another time, so we'll book that in, Katja. You can start seeing how you're going to progress those ideas at the enterprise or the portfolio level. So this is before you have a whole team of designers working on concepts. This is just at the idea level, right? This is, we've got an idea, will it work? We've asked a few people and they've ranked it and given us an idea around what they feel is the priority order. This happens before you pick up ACTA. Damn it!
So, just moving on to an example of what a test card might look like. We here have an example of a test card. So we believe air travellers are concerned about getting to their gate on time. To verify that, we will set up an autonomous Segway stand right next to the check-in counter.
PTA.
Using visuals and signage to entice air travellers to take up the service. Now, we haven't actually gone out and done this. There's no such thing as an autonomous Segway yet. But this is what we're going to do, right? And so the measure that we're going to use is the percentage of travellers that inquire about the service. And we are right if more than 20% of them are actually satisfied to the point where they go, yeah, I want one. Give one to me right now. So basically, we did this very quick visual here, which is the check-in counter.
You said it was real.
We made a massive sign right next to the check-in counter saying, don't stress, arrive at your gate on time via your destinations of choice. And I'm sitting there at a desk with a couple of Segways next to me, like normal Segways, not awesome ones. And Jason has just checked in and he's walking past the desk.
Oh my God, I so need to go to the bathroom. So what's this thing about, man?
Well, basically, we've got this new thing. It's a PTA, man, and you can get to your gate on time. And you can go via all the channels of all the shops and cafes and bars and whatever of your choice.
Right, but I really need to go to the bathroom, so can I jump on one of these and get to the bathroom and then will it know to take me to the gate?
Well, the bathroom might be one of the destinations if you program it to do that. But what it's going to probably do is take you on the order that you program it in, or is on the way. Is that all right?
So you're kind of telling me it could get me there, but I could get lost and it could stop.
No, it'll get you there. It'll get you there.
Oh, it sounds too hard. I'm just going to walk. Thanks, dude.
All right. Whatever. So, as you can see, hold on, I'll just go back. No, I'll go forward, whatever. In our example, we kind of learnt something pretty key. We kind of learnt, like, ideally you would test multiple people as well, not just one person and then run off and build something. But I think what we realised here was that we clearly haven't addressed one of the key possible concerns that customers might have. And so we need to go back to the drawing board and address those concerns before we can actually start putting this into solution mode, so to speak. But let's just sort of assume that we've already done that. Oh, before I move on, actually, based on the tests that you do, you need to actually say whether it's validated or invalidated, based on the criteria that you set. If it's validated, you know, great, you're on your way. You know that there's an appetite and it's time to explore solutions. But if it's invalidated, it's not a fail. Fail just stands for first attempt in learning. So what did we learn? Make sure your whole team actually understands that. And how does this affect your value proposition canvas and your lean canvas? You actually need to go back and iterate on those. These are live, living documents that you need to update at every cycle. So what we try and do is work to a weekly or two-weekly cycle where we're constantly learning and we're constantly updating our value proposition canvas and our lean canvas. And the whole team's aware of the stuff that we've been learning. So basically, once you've validated your concept, you are here.
Who knows this? Yeah, cool.
More people know the double
This
diamond
than the...
the think, make, learn. Okay, so basically what this is showing this first diamond is where you do all your research and you come up with some concepts and you hone in on what's resonating with customers. So this is building the right thing. And the second diamond is building the thing right. So this is where you actually go into more solution mode and go, how actually can we do this, and all the usability of that. But you may ask, isn't this a little waterfall and a little bit unlean? Well, we have something that we've been working on lately, which is an update to it. It's not the double diamond, it's the parallel diamonds.
Like you need another framework.
We really want feedback on this. This is important to us because, you know, the double diamond is something that we're struggling with at the moment. We know that it works to a degree, but we'd like to be more efficient, right? So we have this first diamond, which is the strategic design, same as the double diamond, and we have the second diamond down the bottom, which is the executional design. It's the same as the double diamond again. But what we are proposing is that they run in parallel, and they're iterative, and they are governed by a central blob here called the design governance blob, which happens at regular intervals. Right? So the design governance is actually the decision-making body. It decides whether we're going to build something in a strategic way, i.e. like spend maybe $10 million and do it right, or we're going to do increments along the way and slowly build and get to that, right? So this is the 10 minutes left, thank you. This is the idea behind the design governance, and the design governance should really be run by someone who's the product owner. It should be represented by a design lead and also a tech lead. So based on that, the things that you can start doing tomorrow to lean better. Look for and highlight assumptions. When people are talking, people are at the whiteboard or people are proposing stuff, they're really looking for buy-in. And a lot of time, they can actually get it. And it's an assumption. Like, sometimes the business will spend $10 million on building something that actually has no validation. What we need to do as designers is actually highlight that. Say, yes, that's an assumption. Or we need to validate that. Or how do you know for sure? Another thing you can do is to get a little bit more scientific and measure and record what you validated or invalidated and actually highlight those. Basically with the hypothesis progress board, you can actually say, you know, and articulate them. Everyone can see them there. This is a hypothesis. This is what we think. Maybe even you could give a confidence percentage on them. We're 60% confident that this will work.
I've got a quick poll. Quick poll of the audience. Who here has been hired in a gig and has been asked to UX this project and come up with your expert opinion, being a designer, without doing any of that or having any budget or permission to do any of that? Come on, stick them up.
Lots of hands.
Lots of hands.
The other thing that we need to stress, obviously, is the shared backlog. So business, tech, and design need to all be at the table when deciding what the priorities should be on that backlog and what gets prioritised. Now, JD?
Yep. Checklists. Some of this stuff you'll be able to achieve. Some things will take a little longer, depending on the organisation that you're in. Remember, Jake and I work for a somewhat complex organisation, so for those of you in financial services will understand this, where you've got a number of stakeholders and everyone wants the D.
D means decision.
Decision. So, some of the things you need to put on your checklist. Find champion users. As UXers at the ground-based level of trying to adopt and change a culture and infuse that culture into your organisation, Group with others. Strength in numbers. Get C-level sponsorship. All you have to do is prove that this works once. We proved to you today, in that very short time frame, that we invalidated an assumption. All you have to do is make that visible. Showcase the successes. Create a sense of urgency. Like, it has to happen now. If you've got agile trains waiting to be fed stuff to build, then you also got to move pretty quickly about testing those assumptions. Make it official. Get outside help. If you don't have all the people you need to be able to help you foster that culture, bring in some consultants. Get a mate. Use this network. Funnily enough. Start simple, be opportunistic, and invest. So these are kind of the core things that are going to help move progress along. Create risk-free spaces. You saw the board. Grab whiteboards, grab whatever walls you can to make stuff visible. Good design does not sit in Axia prototypes on your Mac. Sorry, people. Bring the canvas into the DNA of your organisation. Every question, every time you start a project, ask, where is the canvas? Go beyond the low-hanging fruit and make sure you do proper retros. This is probably the most important piece on this checklist. Retros allow you to pivot, adopt, change, and progress it so that everyone can build that culture together.
Every team is different, every organisation is different, every project is different, the team dynamics are different, so there is no best practice, there's only better practice. So you need to have a regular retrospective where everyone sits in a room, they're honest about what they've achieved, they basically articulate what they think went well, what didn't go well, and what we might be able to try to make things go a little better next time. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, you're always improving, continuous improvement. So, this is an example, JD.
So how do you get stakeholders on board? You've got to display stuff in a way that they can easily digest, and whiteboards are awesome for that stuff. Again, it doesn't sit in PowerPoint decks, it doesn't exist on your prototypes. It's a combination about the story that you need to tell. So craft the story. Most of the times in organisations like the ones we work in, want to know the impacts, what you've looked at, maybe the test cards, and what you're researching. What are the things you're actually wanting to find out? For the planners in the room, they often want to see a timeline or a schedule. And in large, complex organisations, this is really tricky. When you have quarterly releases, which are backed by funding components, you need to align those so that the test and learn cycles feed back into the next delivery cycle. That is also another session that we could book in. And then, of course, speaking the same language. So this board was all about, what are we doing? When are we going to do it? And what does it mean? Two very simple boards that gain you most of those items on that checklist. Rinse, repeat, people. Rinse, repeat.
And your role on the organisation really is to actually highlight those assumptions and say, this is what we think, but there is a level of uncertainty about this. We need to prove it, we need to validate it, and if it's wrong, we're going to need to pivot. And when everyone gets buy-in into that, and it's usually through the fear of failure,
or spending 10 million bucks.
Like, product owners like to make decisions, but they also hate failed projects. So this is your chance to get in their ear and say, "Ooh, what if this fails? You know, you don't know about this. This is a big assumption. We need to test this." That should do the job. So, remember, leaner's gonna lean. Don't lean too far, it looks ridiculous. And don't use hyphens incorrectly, people. Jesus. Thank you. Any questions?
Rabbit out of a hat, thank you. Questions, I want to see some hands up. I got pens. Here I come.
Hey guys, thanks for the great presentation. Just two questions. The first one is, why the lean model canvas over the business model canvas? Because you took like the value proposition. Yeah, so is there a particular reason?
I love awesome questions. There is actually a third one, but I didn't want to introduce that. It's the EFT canvas. So essentially, where it starts is somewhat in the realms of business. The reason to use the lean canvas is that it makes it more actionable for more people on the floor. So people can start talking about cost and revenue streams in a realistic way. Whereas in the organisation that we work in Fin Services, it's usually all the financials are kind of held secret until the program gets started. So the rationale about what we need to be working on, the scope, all that kind of stuff is already predetermined before you get your design team in. If you charge the lean canvas and lead with that, it allows people to buy in at the ground level, rather than having the big wigs make the decision and then you're kind of stuck with, holy crap, we've got to design to that. Yeah. So it just allows more cross collaboration in a broader team.
There's no massive reason why you can't use the business model canvas, but in my experience, it's just a little bit more accessible for people that aren't businessy. The lean canvas, that is.
Thanks. And just the other question was, what did it mean when you said like shared backlog ownership? Like I thought that POs own it, and then you put the POs on. I'm just a bit confused.
Yes. So the product owner will ultimately have the last say, right? But you want to get into a position where they're constantly consulting you as a lead designer and the lead tech to go, okay, so tell me what you know so that I can make an educated decision on this. Yeah. Help me make the decision.
Any other questions?
There's one over here.
Whoa, I'm always on the wrong side.
Here's my mic.
My question is about collaboration between, in my case, service designers or customer experience managers, UXers, especially in a lean environment. I would like to know anything.
That's very pertinent for the program that we're on. We're actually working with a couple of service designers ourselves.
Yeah.
Did you want to answer that?
Yeah, we're talking about the differences in skill sets, right?
Yeah, and how do you see them working together? What's the best way of working together? How to continue together?
One of the key things that I'd like to actually call out is that when you work on a team in a very lean way, it's less about roles and what you're employed to do and more about what the team has to achieve. And so what you've got to try and do is take a step back and go, okay, so as a team, we need to achieve this outcome. How the hell do we do that? And if you do it in a very open and transparent way, and you've got all the thinking and the learning, and you're collaborating really, really closely, you'll actually find that it just sort of kind of naturally happens, that the people that are really good at the servicey type stuff will chime in when they need to. The people that are really good with interface design chime in when they need to. The people that are really good with business chime in when they need to. I hope that answers the question. Not really? We'll talk later.
There's a shift going on, and it is partly to do with what the mentors were saying earlier on, where the best way to achieve the outcomes that a team is set out to do is to hire a great mix of people and get the fuck out of their way. So as a lead, you want to make sure that you've got coverage on different skill sets and different values that those people bring to the team. You need business people, you need tech leads, you need design leads. You need that cross-collaborated thinking happening. So to foster that, regardless of the title on your business card, or the belief that you've spent 4 years at Billy Blue studying design degree, so that you have the right to make those choices about what is good design and what isn't. Using lean is all about having cross-collaborative team effort to achieve that outcome, regardless of wherever you come from. I've done my job if I've been able to teach 100 people who aren't designers to use a design methodology. Hallelujah, right?
Yeah, and I guess if, you know, the natural reaction is if we've got different skills that we sort of go and do our own little bit and we'd sort of do it in a bit of a silo and then come back and show it. We really need to challenge those ideas of working and put stuff that you're doing in the faces of the rest of the team and get feedback often.
It's a great segue. Because we UX'd our own work, let me read back a couple of the stats. So, out of 49 responses, 69% of you believe that this talk would give you a basic understanding of lean UX. Not bad.
Sorry.
More interesting, 20% of you thought that the talk would give you a free drink and pizza. Right.
That's one for me to record.
So, in regards to the value of this is that this is a toolkit. These are the things that we use as part of our day-to-day practice. We're more than happy to share that with you. We can make this slide deck available through Joe. Keep learning, keep teaching others. That's the message.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.